gonna start streaming in go.
Is we live?
Yes, we are live.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
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 Oi.
I'm gonna go on the Twitters, on the Twitterverse.
Should we have like a proper intro? Like, welcome to, I don't know.
Yes, that's what.
Welcome
We should do a
to
So
poll.
Table
okay, okay,
Talk
all right. So
RPG, where we talk about tabletop RPGs.
Professionals.
Tabletop RPGs.
that's funny. So
I missed this. I
so
missed
so
this last week.
I think we should have like an intro or something, right? Oh, so yeah,
Yeah.
talking about announcements. So yeah, I can do announcements, right? So I'm Ghost. We got
go for it.
Savvy. We got Axio. You will know us. If you don't know us, then welcome. Um, I did get.
Actually, surprise! I go ahead and go like that on MRP. Um,
so
Plot twist.
so yeah, the I talked with some people that I was emailing about trying to get our a song or something, right, for like an intro song, because we're show, so we kind of need something. I
Yeah.
think we need something, and we got to go ahead. I did go in through the Twitch thing, with the
Terms of
yeah
service.
terms of service, all
you
that stuff.
know?
Make sure that I wouldn't violate any laws, or I don't get attacked by the Twitch police and whatever. So
I can just imagine like the global, like somebody sitting in a room with like like a hologram of Earth, and then suddenly like and then it just zooms in into your house, and it's like, sir, I think we have
From
a
the van.
we have a 447p in progress right now. Then take us
so
down.
so yeah, so I will, once I get it all set up, then we'll have an intro. It's a cool song. My co-host have already listened to it, so I think it's gonna be great.
The coolest.
Yeah,
Approved.
so I set it up. I put it on Twitch. I literally said we are live, and I said nothing about what we were doing. So that's awesome. So I had to do another.
Professional.
Yeah, I know, right? So I had to do another tweet saying what we're doing. All right. So
I'm ashamed
you're shamed. Yeah. All
of
right.
you. I'm
So a
just
couple
kidding.
of shout outs. Follow, go into our Discord if anybody's interested if in playing some of the games that we run over there. Um, Also, we have a YouTube channel. Yay! So that way Twitch doesn't delete our videos. We can have them for
Yeah.
there forever. Yes,
Until
forever.
Google deletes them.
Until Google says that YouTube doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're there. You can subscribe there. So everything we do. So one of the things that I do here, I don't edit anything. So however it comes out here, it's gonna go in on YouTube, and we're gonna put it there. And just to know, at least I didn't put any ads or anything like that. I don't care. Just go there, watch it, and like or not like or whatever.
Editing is
We
too
have a
much
couple of
work.
subscribers already, and I started the channel like last week. So
We don't edit anything. These are our faces. We are
hmm
gorgeous. Like this is not a filter. This is
yeah,
not. We are this beautiful. All of
We
us.
yeah,
do have the
man,
circle light, which
There we go.
probably
Yeah.
helps, but
yeah. Of course
you
that
know.
that helps. Of course it helps. You know.
All right. So today we are talking about role playing expectations, and let's actually, because our titles imply that we're going to be talking about a specific subject. This may or may not happen, but let's actually kind of like describe what it is that we mean by role playing expectations, or at least what I mean by it, and then Ghost and Savi will probably take it to some better direction. Um, and this is just a topic that came up the other day. I was talking to Ghost and Savi, and then at some point, I think it was, I don't know if it was Savi that had to go or Ghost. I don't know. The thing is that like this topic suddenly came up. We're like, okay, everyone shut up now because we're not gonna waste it here. We're gonna use it and talk about it on Table Talk.
Yeah.
So in this case, this particular topic, out of the many hundreds in which we've said the same thing, um, uh, this one is very important because we're living in a time now where it is very easy to get RPG products without having to make your way to a physical uh, friendly local gaming store, right? Like it's not that it's
LGS.
yeah, FLGS. It's not that that's new. It's just that because of the current worldwide situation that we have, we've become more accustomed with acquiring a lot of our stuff digitally and playing, online. So something that we were talking about is there's a lot of systems out there that have a lot of really intriguing features that are outside of the norm. And let's define the norm real quick. The norm is I give you a character sheet that has some attributes. Here's your dice. To jump over the pond. And then you go, okay, give me a dexterity check. And then you roll. And then, yes, you did it. Okay,
Seven
let's
steps.
7 steps, 7 very simple steps. But now we have games that have like so many gameplay elements that are so complicated. Well, I don't mean complicated in the bad way, but that add a layer of complexity to the role playing experience
Mhm.
mechanically that sometimes, as a matter of fact, often, because that's their purpose, enhance the feel of the game and drive it towards a specific setting or tone. I'm
Yeah.
talking about games maybe like Mothership. I'm talking
Mhm.
about games
Blades
maybe
in the
like
dark.
Blades in the
Yeah.
Dark, exactly. These are games whose mechanics are wonderfully different from the norm, and they help enhance and bring together a great kind of experience for our players. So sometimes we as GMs start questioning whether we are bringing the best experience possible to our players, and then we start thinking that we're not. And
Mhm.
that is what I mean by RPG expectations is sometimes we put expectations of ourselves and of our table that may not really reflect the truth, and then we become we start thinking, oh, I have to get this system or I have to get that system so that this game that I want to play will be played its best, because that's the only game that will allow me to get the experience that I want to bring to my players, that cinematic experience. Well, here's my opinion on it, and then I'm gonna hear, I'll shut up as I need to, so everybody will talk about this. But I think that RPG games have been played in a myriad of ways, in wonderful ways, before all of these mechanical conventions existed.
Mhm.
And GMs would be able to craft great experiences for their players. And that was strictly something done by the GM because the system itself was very simple. We're old school, right? Um, Now, do these other mechanical gizmos help? Yes, they do. But I believe that sometimes we get a little hung up and we forget that we can make any system do anything we want as long as we have the ability to do that. And that usually gets developed with a lot of experience, a lot of
Yeah.
time. It requires a lot
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
experience at the table. But furthermore, here's where I'm going to take the point to the next level. Sometimes we think that our players care, and oftentimes they may not. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
sure
Mhm.
that many of the things that we choose to add to our game ever get experienced in the way that we meant it by our players or that they even care. What are your thoughts, Sisses?
I think that it depends on the expectations that you set up. And my
Mhm.
brain goes straight to an example. I'm not going to be super specific. There was a game that I was a part of where the tone in my mind was a certain way. And then I went into the game and the tone completely was not there. And I was only into the game that had this specific tone that we were
Mhm.
playing in, the specific theme. And so I quickly became unhappy with the game and the way that it was being played. And I ended up dropping out because as a player, it didn't meet my expectations. And that's not a failure on the GM's part. It's just all of the players weren't on the same page about the theme or tone of the game. And that's from a player perspective. From a GM perspective, I am guilty of doing the thing that people say you shouldn't do, and that is after you have finished a session, go back and tell the players what could have happened if they chose something else.
Been there.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, I was planning this and that and the other, and if you did this, and the players are like, that doesn't matter. We don't care. We didn't go there. And or if I apologize and be like, well, this wasn't set up the way I wanted to, and they're like, it was fine for me. Like
There's
it
a
just
concept in
depends.
theater. There's a concept in theater where if typically is typically known amongst actors, which I will apologize in advance to any actors out there, real actors or actresses out there that may be better versed in this. But there's a thing where if you forget a line, don't act like you forgot the line. Just say
Yeah.
something and roll with it because the audience hasn't read the script. They
Yeah,
don't
they don't
know
know.
unless they've been there for maybe this is the second time they go to the show or not. But otherwise, if somebody's experiencing it for the first time, they have no clue
And
what
that's
the
the
actual
thing. My
line.
players would say, we wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, therefore it doesn't matter. But I, as a GM, sometimes felt like I let down my players because I had the plan and it didn't go to the plan because of my players, which happens all the time, which is
Yep.
now I have learned not to have a plan. So that helps.
Good.
Ghost, what do you think?
He's
I learned that from
meditating to see how
Ghost,
he's
by the
gonna
way.
take down our points.
No,
So
I
Go
think
ahead,
my
Ghost.
points go with his points, maybe.
Probably.
I think we
so
are one mind
Nice.
ish.
so it's 2 against 1 now. Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Um. So I'm gonna go a little bit back to what you said on the ability of the GM, right? So my reasoning for why this new systems comes up with this complex mechanics or extra mechanics, right? That we could have done that in the years past GMs were able to do. It's all about making it easier for the player to or the GM, to, hey, you have these rules, you can use them or you cannot use them, right? So, and before, let's talk about, back in the 80s. I'm pretty sure somebody came up with the clocks in Blades in the Dark. It was just not written in any rules, right?
Yep. It wasn't
So
codified.
it wasn't codified. That was the word I was looking for. So it wasn't
Yeah.
codified. So because it wasn't, it was honestly, it was just a house rule. It was just a house rule. Maybe, I mean, the
Yep.
players don't have to see it, right? They don't have to. But I'm saying, like, it's a rule that you had to come up in order to track something, in order to make it for you as a GM easy to track and easy to do. So I think they've done it more and more now in time in nowadays where they come up with these new rules. It's because they allow, not just because they want their system to be different, but because to let new players, because it's all about attracting new players to the hobby. That's all it is. Is, hey, this is a way you can run the game. This is something you can use. This is something that it'll help you make your life easier to track things better or to do something better. So I think that's why it's done now. Um, in terms of setting the expectations, yes, you do have to. I think that's something that even comes down before session zero. So there is. I think I told Savvy about this. The seven truths of gaming. The seven truths of gaming.
Yeah.
Truths. Oh my God.
Truth.
Jesus, I need more
Truth.
liquid power.
You need more fuel.
Jesus Christ. So the seven truths, right? So it is the seven principles of your of any campaign, any GM. I mean, any game. Jesus, any campaign, any game where when you establish those, it lets both the players and the GM know where the boundaries lie. Right? If you have any questions of what the tone, what the genre, what to do, how to role play your character, how to role play NPCs, the world, then you go to those three truths, I guess, and that'll set the tone. Like that's everything you need to know in order to know what the game is about. So I think that's when you set those things up. So I like what you did with your Brindlewood Bay game, where you set them up. Hey, as a player, this is all the stuff that you need to know, and then all these other things. So okay, so that gives the players an idea of what to roleplay, even before how to roleplay, even before the session zero.
It
So I
gives
think,
them the
yeah,
boundaries.
gives them the boundaries of what your character is supposed to do, right? Everything in between, you can do whatever you want, but you cannot exceed this or exceed this other side So I think that uh, expectations are very important. And what you said about the players not caring,
I mean,
it
it's a possibility. I'm
it
just
is
for
it is
example.
it is. But I think it depends on, to be honest, to be completely honest, and people might throw some rocks at me. I think it depends on the experience of the player.
Oh, I
Right,
agree.
no, right on,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right on, right on. I actually
Hmm.
agree with that. But I think though, where are those experiences coming from
Hmm.
for the players versus where are they coming from for the GM? Let me explain what I mean.
Yeah.
I am as a GM, lol, as a person who used to GM. I'm not currently a GM, but I used to GM
You gained it
things.
back. Gained back that title.
Probably we'll see, we'll see. But at some point, I was a GM, and back then I was
Hmm.
consuming so much
Yeah.
RPG media.
Hmm.
I was listening to podcasts all the time, actual plays, watching YouTube videos of actual plays. I was subscribed to every famous GM out there. I'm not going to mention some names, but the fact is that created in me a sense of expectation where if I wasn't providing the experiences that I was receiving, in those shows, if I wasn't creating that for my players, then I was failing at what I needed to do. Here's the thing. On the flip side, I remember that I ran a thing for some people, and I know that the thing that I was running for those people was for my standards was trash, but the people were having a blast. They were having fun. And I couldn't evoke the feel that I was going for only because that feel that I was going for was being borrowed from some other personality that I saw on YouTube, or some personality that I heard on a podcast. Um, and therefore, that led me on a wild hunt of whose fault was it? Was it me that I wasn't a good enough GM? Was it my players that they didn't know enough to roll with the ideas that I was bringing? Or was it the system? And I know you remember, Ghost, that we spent weeks trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
destroy the system that I was using in my. I was like, it's probably the system. This is I need to get a better system. So I started hunting for new systems. Started trying to see a system that would help me do the thing, or help me kind of serve as the scaffolding for the experience that I wanted to bring. The problem was that I never found that system. I never did, and I went through different systems, and I ended up probably saying, well, I guess it might not have been the system, right? And that's kind of like where I'm bringing tonight is the idea of, instead of looking for the culprit in all the things that are outside of you, maybe start thinking, are my expectations for my game a little too high, and therefore I'm never satisfied with my system of choice. I'm never satisfied with the story that I've crafted. I'm never satisfied playing at all. And then it stops being a hobby and it starts being work, right?
I to rebut
Go ahead.
that, because I personally experienced this. Is it the system? It must be the system. The system is awful. Um, the kind of experience that I always strive to bring my players is a very narrative cinematic one. And I have to clarify that because not all DMs slash GMs of
Mm-hmm.
all RPGs
Slash
D
MCs.
slash MCs, D&D, 5e, Pathfinder, etc. More of the wargamey type of games. And I'm not saying I'm not lumping them all. Some of them are very roleplay heavy. I've heard good things. I have not personally been able to bring the experience that I want through a crunchy system like Pathfinder or Pathfinder 2. When I moved them over to Cortex, even though rest in peace, that is done, uh, they they were able to role play really well through Cortex. I'm not going to talk about Cortex, but in that case, for me, it was a system issue because the the systems I was playing before would kind of lock me in to what I could do and what I wanted to do would break the rules. And then it came down to, well, if you're breaking the rules here, then why not here? Then why there's no
It's a
consistency?
system at all.
Why use the system at all? And so I had to find a system that followed the rules that I wanted, that I could bring, like I wouldn't be breaking rules to bring the experience.
That's a
And
good point.
that's why I switched, and I much dreaded running those games in Pathfinder, and I greatly enjoyed running them in Cortex. Because, and also my players, from the player point of view, I starkly remember our last session in Pathfinder. They were so frustrated because the action resolution, even in Pathfinder 2, which is much improved over Pathfinder 1, it was so long and it was so difficult, and they had started the game with this like great role play that quickly got squashed out because of number crunching, like
Yeah.
quickly. And yeah, but I'll
So,
let
yeah, but then that's you just brought a great point. That's going to be our first milestone to moving somewhere away from the main topic. You just brought a great point, which is you you had an idea, and this is not your case. When I say you, I mean, okay, anybody has this idea, and in their head say this might be the system, but then the players love or hate it. Now, I would wonder then if the choice of system should be communal. Maybe even the choice of system should be something that could be arranged after the fact. Let me before I get crucified. It's the main idea of not let me prep this game in Cortex, or let me prep this game in Fate, or let me prep this game in Cypher System, or let me prep this game in fifth edition. It's more like, hey, I want to play a game set in the world of Dune. And then you advertise it, right? And you go, okay, game of Dune. And then people are like, oh, I'm in, whatever. Of course, there's always the one dude or dudette who will go like, or other who would go like, what system are we playing it though? And then we'll go, oh, we're playing it in X system. And they'll go, I'll pass. But instead, what if you go, oh, we're playing this thing? What's it? Oh, no, we'll decide that on session zero. Wait, what? You don't even have a system? You know? Yeah, I know. It sounds crazy. But the idea would be then that would probably help everyone kind of be on the same page, even on which system is being used. Now, I know that's a little radical because a lot of people are not familiar with as many systems as maybe we are.
and you would have to have the players who care. They have to
Yeah,
care, and they
yeah.
have to know that there are different options.
That is true. That is very
A
true.
new player, if somebody was like, "Oh, I've got this idea and we're going to choose a system," and I'm coming in and I don't know what a system is because all I've watched is Matt Mercer. So all I know is all that.
For
And
those
I
of you who
come
had that name on your bingo card, that's
Yeah.
mark it up.
good up. By the way, we're not affiliated with Matt Mercer or any of the games mentioned before. We're not affiliated
Okay.
with anybody.
And I wish I had his acting prowess, but I don't because I'm not an actor. But if I came to the table with only that as my background, and then you imagine the amount of time and effort and
This is
caring
true.
it would take to go through, like, even if you pick three different systems and be like, each of these will bring a different feel, and here's why. This, and so imagine Cortex, PBTA, and then let's go grab let's see. What's a really complicated one? I don't know. Some
Burning
D20.
Wheel.
Burning Wheel. Yeah, I've heard good things, but
It's a wonderful game that cannot be played by any human.
exactly. So you pull all those three and it's like, okay, let's go all through all these together and figure out which one is the perfect one for our setting. And I would be like, this is not what I had in mind. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
don't we just roll dice? That's what I would be like. But that's personally me thinking back to my younger years. Okay, 2 years
Yep.
ago. Ghost?
This is actually a good point. Ghost, thoughts?
I don't. You guys have made really, really, really good points. I mean, I don't have anything that's gonna be really, really crazy.
This is
Yes,
why I
Matt
talk too
Mercer
much.
effect is real.
It
Yes, you.
sets expectations. It does
It
set
does. It
expectations. I'll
does.
tell you, it
It
does. It
does.
does.
So I think that the system is important, right? You can do the whole, yes, I'm gonna have to go against you in a little bit, where it says if you're adding the system at a certain point, I think is not as great than adding the system before you pick the setting. Why? Because it's a lot easier for people to grab something that's codified than for them to bring to the table a specific experience, right? So, and if you have a system that helps you bring about that experience, then you got the best of both worlds, right? So
Um,
so if you do have it codified, that lets the players know, like, hey, all right, so we're gonna use this system, and we're gonna use this system because it brings about this for the setting that we're going to play, right? Okay, and that
yeah.
lets them know, that narrows the field a little bit. If you have new players, that narrows the field a little bit. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
so I don't have to go anywhere that's not here, right? And that does help a little bit. But
And the Dusk says in the chat, it adds a high barrier to entry for the
yeah,
game
it does. It does.
because whenever, I mean, even people who are experienced role players, say, or people who have been in D&D, the majority of people in RPGs are in D&D.
Mhm.
Let's just go ahead and
Truth.
clear that now. People who are coming over to different stuff from D&D are already being, I would say they're probably more intimidated than people who are completely new. And then you go and throw out the whole multiple systems thing, and it just, I personally wouldn't be, as a
Like,
player who would have
Those are
been
very
doing
those are
D20.
very good points. Those are very good points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
just
take it back, guys. Fine. I'm not gonna do it. Fine.
so
Okay.
what I mean is,
However, one important thing is that when we do, however, when we go on that hunt for a system,
mhm.
you guys would probably know that analysis paralysis is real.
Yes,
Oh,
And then
yes.
we
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
go,
I play board
That's
then we
games. It
another
is.
go,
thing.
It is.
you know,
Axio, you know that.
exactly.
But I was gonna say, if it was us three, I'd be
Mhm.
perfectly fine going, okay, I got a setting, let's go look at these systems. But we all are fairly versed in,
Yeah,
or at least knowing how to look at other systems and not be
what you're
scared
implying,
of
and what
coming
you're
up.
implying with that, which I think is brilliant, what you're implying is then there's a thing where we should probably qualify is for which kind of table would that be probably a good possibility is
Yeah.
if you're a table that is full of friends who've maybe been together for 10, 15 years and you guys have played many things together and you guys already kind of experienced or whatever, then I think it could be fine to leave the decision of the system to later and then choose from a range of products. So I guess the qualification is this an experienced table of people who have been together for a while and could engage in that kind of conversation versus
Too.
is this a one shot
It's
with
a
total
con,
strangers?
a con game,
It's a con game, right? What we
con
call a
game.
con game, even though we don't have cons anymore in this new world.
I never even got to go to one.
Uh,
Come
I'm still hoping. I'm still hoping that soon trademark. We'll be able to do it. But yeah, I think that's the qualifier. It's which table are we talking about? Are we talking about an old table? Or are we talking about a new table, right? But analysis paralysis is a big deal. Analysis paralysis is a thing where if we go hunting, Ghost, you and I have been through this. Savi, I know you've been through this where we're like, oh man, I don't know. There's this other system that I wish I could use. What if I use ICRPG? What if I use, this? What if I, the other day, okay, full disclosure, confession.
Can we pause real quick,
Yeah,
actually?
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
I think Ghost had something to add before we get too far
Oh,
away.
No, no, that's
my
fine.
bad.
No, no. I
Okay.
am, I am, I am all ears today. I'm all ears tonight.
Okay.
Nice,
I'm all ears
nice.
tonight.
Don't take that comment. I said serious. I was okay. So disclosure, guys. Ghost was having some mic issues at the beginning when we were testing for the show today, and we were like, "What if you don't talk today, Ghost?" And I think he believed it. I think he liked it. No, no.
That's
But
fine.
just to finish the thought, real quick. Um, full disclosure, I'm currently prepping a game for my triumphant return to GMing, which Which actually I
Uh,
might not do it anymore because now I've raised the expectations so high. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, this must be a great." No, it's probably gonna suck. But anyway, the idea is that I've already started going through that old kind of bad habit of right at the verge of being ready on my prep. I go, but what if I switch it to Fate? Or what if I switch it
I
to
know, I
Cortex?
know. I'm not gonna be surprised. I'm not gonna be surprised because he does it all
You're
the
not
I'm
time.
gonna be
just
So
holding
surprised.
my breath.
I'm
You
just
guys are enablers. You guys are enablers. You should just like force me to use a
You
specific
have to do
system.
it in Adventum because now
I
you have to show
told
me how
I
you.
it's done.
do.
I've
I do.
already told you. Just use it. Man, I'm not even. I'm done, man. You do it
Ghost is
whenever.
like, I have talked too much on
Fine.
this.
I will run it, and I will run it in that one system that is still a surprise. I'm going to be running it in Adventum. For those of you who don't know Adventum, that's normal. You shouldn't, because it's a thing that I'm homebrewing. But anywho, yeah, Ghost, go ahead and
So
say something, because now
so
we're running a little bit on the clock there.
so the
Too bad.
you did mention something about the what was it? What was it? The crap. It was about systems. So I like what Dust said about the table experience players. Yeah, if you know each other, then yeah, it's fine. But if it's a
Yeah,
con game, you have to set it up before. You have to set the system before. Now,
yeah, that's true. That
you
is true.
did. You're talking about which homebrew. That gives me an idea. The when you here's another thing we've talked about and we've discussed and I've yelled at you for is
Clearly,
you're coming up with these games, right? When there are games out there that already do those things
truth.
and it's the fight. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it and I don't want to mention it because already people already mentioned it, but you make rules to fit your table, to fit your game, when in this renaissance of tabletop RPGs, oversaturation of tabletop RPGs, there's probably already a system that works for what you want or is already
Yeah.
made for what you want. And when you homebrew something, that takes time, that takes effort, that takes a lot of work.
And it might suck at the end.
And it's true, and you need to play test things. Like, okay, let's see if we do it
Yeah.
this way or we don't do it this way, right? If we do it, this
Yeah.
way. Um, but then it's gonna take probably less amount of effort, less amount of work, and less amount of time if you just go find the system
Find a
that
system that
works,
does it. Right.
that does it,
Right.
right? And I think that's something that a lot of people or a lot of players out there just gloss over. It's like, oh no, I'm just gonna make my own rules about whatever thing we're going on,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, there's already this system. I'm not saying don't do it, right? I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying is maybe in your search for this other system, you're going to find other things that will help you be better, right?
This is true. This is
So
true.
so I mentioned it to Axio before.
Hmm.
I am at the point where I'm trying. I look at videos. I go online and I look at things of what people do to make themselves better. Hey, there's some advice. There's some ideas. There's some hey, here's for new players. Stuff like that. Like, and I realize I'm not looking for that anymore. Right? I've played enough, and I'm
You've
not.
matured, Ghost.
Yeah, you can call it that. But I'm not at the point where I need tips and advice on how to do things. I need tools that I can do whatever I want with them myself.
Dusk just said in the chat, find the cooking system. He meant toolkit, but I like cooking better.
So
I love
yes,
that. Yeah, we're using that now. Is the cooking system. I love it. I know.
so
I actually do. I think
it
it's
is
amazing.
it is
Yeah.
actually a cooking system. You pick the ingredients of
It
what you
is. Yeah,
want,
you're
you mix
cooking
them
it.
up
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Look at that,
So
Dusk.
Absolutely.
It works.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you can find a
Approved.
cooking system now. It's fine though. But I and this is me going everything against everything I stand for, right? Because I love Cortex.
Yes, I know. I'm surprised. I'm loving it. Go
So
on.
because I love Cortex and I play Cortex and I write systems, other games into Cortex, and
How
they
would this
bring
look in Cortex? Is your favorite
exactly
phrase?
that is how I do it because I can bring about because Cortex is such a well cooking system that
It is. It
It
is a
is.
that al-
fantastic cooking
that
system.
allows me to create whatever I want and whatever experience I want. But but I've come to the realization that maybe maybe I should run other systems as is first, just to see how well my creation compares to the real original experience, right? And not to say that mine is bad. I don't think mine is bad because I did it with City of Mist. I created City of Mist in Cortex Prime, and it is not bad at all. Savi can attest to that.
That's
It was
awesome.
really. But the thing is, the players were not are not really, not to say anything Savi, anything bad, but players are not really great judges because they have not played City of Mist PBTA,
No, I have not
and
played the
that is
original.
Yeah.
that was
So for all
one
they
of my
know, yeah,
yeah.
for all they know, your game was the best thing ever, and then they go ahead and play it on City of Mist, and they go, "Oh, wait a minute, why
Exactly.
didn't we use this other
So
Wow.
thing?"
for me on the GM side, I both run it as PBTA and I've run it with ICRPG. Experience exactly the same, but mechanics completely different.
Completely different.
Completely different. But they brought about
Counterpoint.
they brought about
I have a
exactly what I wanted
counterpoint
to bring.
there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, no, it's not really a counterpoint. I actually agree. I think your opinion is both sensible and wise. So get out of here with that. We don't need sensible and wise in this stream. We need dumb
Racy
and
and
crazy
Ah,
and dumb and
crazy.
yeah.
it needed to be
No, but
said.
Controversial.
controversial and things that make no sense and that people in the chat can
Yeah.
set us right about. Anyway, but not a counterpoint, but kind of like a thing to watch out for is how many of us, however, have the time and the energy to learn multiple systems? If we today we want to play something that is fantasy, and tomorrow we want to play something that is sci-fi,
Yeah.
and the next day we want to
Well,
play something like in that regard, then we're already thinking. Now it may not be as big of an issue as I'm making it seem to be, but I'm thinking, well, maybe, and now we're starting to thread on that kind of border between a generic universal system such as Fate, Genesis, Cortex, etc., versus a specific system such as again Blades, Mothership,
D&D.
whatever, D&D. So in that regard, I'm thinking if I already know a rule set, then let me see how far I can stretch that one rule set because that way I'll be more prolific, I'll be more productive, I'll be able to prep more games in that one system that I already have full mastery over, which is what drives a lot of people. And you guys know this is true. For the people out there, I'm not about to hate on your game. 5e is a brilliant system.
I was
But why
just
are you
about to say, why
why
are you
are you
building murder mystery investigation?
why are you bringing every genre and
Your
every game
game.
ever into D&D? Dungeoneering can only be shifted to so many things before it starts losing its thing.
its
Yeah,
original
I have a
purpose.
4 in Dungeoneering and I'm playing Star Trek, which somebody out there might be able to make a good argument about. Maybe the away team is going to the Middle Ages in some planet that's still in the
Yeah.
Middle Ages. Whatever. The point is that when people are familiar with a rule set, they're more likely to build more experiences within that one rule set, right? It's like you can either be like specialized or become a jack of all trades but master of none, right?
Yeah, yeah. We
But
talked
th-
about that before.
yeah,
Yeah.
when
And
you stretch in,
yeah, there's a lot of barriers there, right? You have the time aspect, you have the money aspect. Maybe they don't have the money to buy other systems, right?
That's
It's just
true.
right. So
They're getting
there's a lot.
expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into play with that. But yes, I do. Hate is a strong word. I
loathe,
uh,
Strongly dislike
I strongly
borderline
dislike.
would destroy on sight.
Yeah, yeah.
strong word, but I really, really don't like
But I really don't like what
it.
they
That's a
done with
song.
5e. They made 5e the hallmark of TTRPGs, right? And unfortunately it overshadows a lot of the really
Really
good
good
systems.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the really
Yep.
good systems that are out there, unfortunately.
Yep.
Um, so what I've done is actually I'm hunting different systems for different genres and different tones and experiences, right? I'm hunting them down. Hey, I have, this for mystery, this for horror. I'm actually looking at
You're
Alien RPG.
theoretically
No,
or
no, 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 no. Like
actively?
actively.
You
Um,
don't want to just use Cortex for everything, you've
no, I don't.
decided?
So
Oh my God,
yes,
get out
yes.
of
Wait, okay,
here.
okay, okay.
Ew.
What?
Wait. So
I thought this was
yes.
20 years down the road.
I
So
thought we were trying
yes.
to get like bought out by fandom. What are you doing? You're ruining our chances of
So
getting like.
yes,
I'm
yes.
joking.
I will run everything eventually in Cortex because it is an awesome system. It's so flexible and versatile.
It's
Yeah,
so
it can
good
go on
though,
and on.
isn't it?
Yada yada
It's
yada.
so
Yeah,
good.
but there are specific systems. So basically, right now I'm looking at Alien RPG if I want to buy that or not. Right, Alien RPG. I heard really good things about it. I really don't like much the PvP aspect of it, but I think that's something that can be waived or changed or something.
I want to play
So,
it.
You
but
can run aliens in D&D. Wait, what? Go ahead.
Shh. Don't bring that
Ian,
evil here.
I'm
sorry.
pretty sure somebody's gonna make a D&D. Well, I sent you the World of Warcraft one and all this craziness that
Oh
they
yeah,
do.
I am torn.
Explain that. That looks really cool.
I used to play World of Warcraft
Me
very
too.
actively, very actively.
Actively, if we were being honest, me
Yeah.
too.
So,
Yeah,
12
so
hours a
I was an EverQuest
yeah,
fan. I was an
I
EverQuest
might have farmed 4 billion wolves and
EverQuest was
spiders.
before my time.
Yeah.
fan. Dated myself.
um
Damn.
yeah, but it's yeah. Go ahead. So go ahead, Ghost. We
Uh,
kind of
yeah.
interrupted you there with
Totally
a lot of.
forgot
That's fine.
what we were
So
saying.
yeah, so
Oh, different systems for different genres. Go.
yes, so I'm on the hunt because I want to try them, and I think it's because I feel that I might do a disservice to new players, especially with Savvy. I don't think like if I'm gonna run something, I would rather run it first in the original,
That's
so
fair.
that way you can have something to compare. So that way new players have something to compare to whenever I run it in Cortex. Because eventually it's gonna turn into Cortex. Come on, let's be real. But
Of course it is.
but I want to run in
Let
the
people
original
experience
experience.
the things
Yeah,
that we've
yeah,
experienced.
yeah,
Like, we've gotten to where we are because we actually have played many great systems,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that we should
So
always revisit those every once
and
in a
so and
while.
so that's why when I said that I wanted to see instead of like going online and researching like tips and tricks on how to do things, I would prefer you tell me what to do or what is out there instead of me how to use it, right? So for example, instead of telling me, hey, this is how you can build a campaign or something like that, tell me, hey, these are the types of campaigns you can make, and then let me make them however I want, if that makes any sense. So when I look at all these videos on YouTube, like, hey, this is how you can do this, this is how you can do this, I honestly I just gloss over them right now because
I I
I
still think
there
that
is
there's a
merit to
mark.
that, right? But
Yeah, but on the topic of YouTube advice, again, we're not affiliated with YouTube, and we're not hating on YouTube. Suddenly our stream cannot be found anywhere because Google just doesn't allow it to be searched for. But
yeah,
no, okay. But let's get to the nitty gritty here. A lot of people build careers as content providers, providing a lot of advice on how to
content.
do this, how to do that. But honestly, how many players can even get hooked into the thing you're building before saying one joke that wrecks the entire kind of mood, and then everybody laughs and loves the game where it's going, whatever, and we don't even get to like do 10% of the things that we heard some YouTuber advise us to do. Like for example,
Yeah.
you go watch it, you're like, how to run a mystery, right? And then you get
Hmm.
the video, and then the person tells you, gives you these like laundry list of things to make the very best investigative game you will ever run, right? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm totally gonna do this, right? And then you go into planning, it takes you 10 years to come up with this one thing. You're like, yes, finally I made it. I did the thing that the YouTuber told me to do. And then you take it to your table, and nobody even was able to differentiate it from the last thing you ran, and they just
Yeah.
had the exact same
There's
good
no
time.
appreciation, man. No appreciation.
And that's the point. Like, and as a matter of fact, I'll say, I as a player, like, you know that I've been a player alongside you with people that have run things where we're like, oh, that's kind of, but we still, yeah, let's not, but we still had a time and we still didn't,
Yeah.
and that person was the level of effort that they put into that game, that amateur game, right? Was nowhere near the level that these content providers are like suggesting we did whatever, and we still kind of had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Thing is that I feel like the main takeaway, since we're about 10 minutes out,
Yeah.
in my brain, with my own experiences, is the GM needs to drop all expectations of what they're going, drop the expectations of how your players are going to perceive your game, and then the players need to like have those seven truths so they know what to expect out of
Yeah.
the game. And if they, at the very base level, they'll get the seven truths, right?
Hmm.
I think we
But
need to provide a link to that list so that people that are listening to it can read the seven
yeah,
truths and see
just
what that's about.
find an article about, or find
Yeah,
a
go
YouTube
ahead.
video about it.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. We've come
But
full circle.
me of like I was running my first Brindlewood Bay investigation game, PBTA, a while ago now. January? No, December-ish.
Oh,
It's been a
that's
while.
ages ago. That's
It was
ages
ages.
ago.
I know,
In
ages.
pandemic time, that's ages
It
ago.
is. And I had this whole idea because I had watched a YouTube one shot of it, an actual play, which I don't watch because I find them incredibly boring. I would rather just play. But I watched it because I had anxiety or whatever about running it. And then so I got this idea of how I wanted to run it and what I wanted my players to do. And like a keystone of PBTA is you don't choose the ending, you don't choose how your players do
Play
things.
to find out what
You play to
happens.
find out what happens. And because of my own expectations I put on the experience I wanted to provide for my players, I ended up not letting them do stuff that fairly they should have been able to do. I ended up railroading them in a PBTA game. And
Madness.
That is like challenge accepted. I will do this.
because yeah, they're like, "Oh, I succeeded." I was like, "Well, then this happens," and da da da. And then they're like, "But I should have got that." I was like, "Well, actually, we're on to the next scene now, so you can't
Yeah.
because you didn't do what I wanted you to." So yeah, but I've
What do
learned.
you do? I go home. Okay, now you're in a pyramid. Wait a minute. Wait,
No,
what?
no, I wanted them to go home. They wanted to keep investigating. No, y'all need to go home so we can go do something else that I wanted to plan for.
Yeah,
And
you need to go
yeah.
go home and sleep because you're old ladies and you
Exactly,
can't
you're
really.
old
Yeah.
ladies, and it's after 7 o'clock. Anyways, yeah, I
But
should have
those are
I
the
should have
those
let
are
them. Yeah, don't put as a GM, don't put expectations on yourself to provide like to assume your player's experience needs to be what you think that
love
it
it.
should be. That's
So
what I would say.
so
Wonderful.
Dusty Rogue asked a good question. It's like, do you world and system build for the table or for yourself? Now that is a good
Oh,
question.
Do
what a
it
great
for myself.
question.
For
What a
I'm
great
selfish.
question.
It was for myself.
So I
My next
do.
one, because I see that Knight is in here, it'll be for the players, so don't worry. I won't railroad you guys.
So I do it for more for the players than for myself because if I'm gonna do world system build, I do for myself because when I take Cortex and I build it for myself because I do whatever I want to do with it. But if I'm doing a world, like say for a campaign or something, I don't write anything. I don't because at that point I become an author and not a tabletop RPG GM. That to me that's if it's something that I'm building and the players never use it, I if you find that rewarding, then that's awesome. But I don't. So I just write whatever I need, whatever I come up with, like what I did with you guys with the Axio, with the ICRPG Cyberpunk
Yeah.
game. I just
Mm-hmm.
wrote enough that what you guys were going to interact, which I knew you were going to interact, I just made everything about you, about your players. But yes, this huge world out there, but I don't care about it because your players wouldn't care about it. So
I have a hybrid take on this. I have a take
yeah.
on that I want to share. Okay, if this phrase is dumb, don't like please ignore it immediately. But if it's smart, attribute it to me. I'm joking. Which is build it for you, but run it for them. Let me explain what I mean.
Okay.
Build it for you, but
Yeah,
run it for
yeah, yeah.
them. When I say build it for you, is because the GM should be very happy and motivated
Mm-hmm.
about what they're bringing to the table, and they should be knowledgeable about the world such that playing to find out what happens becomes enabled. If you are very familiar as a GM with your world, if you're very happy with your world and you've taken the time to to hunt for the elements that you want your world to have, that's wonderful as long as you know that when you're running it, it's no longer for you. So you need to be able to let go of the things that your players are not going to see or want to see so that you don't railroad them. So one thing I do, for example, is I can spend hours looking for the perfect image of my NPCs. Like I go to Google image search and I spend hours looking for the perfect image, the perfect art that looks exactly like the NPC, and I will never show it to my players ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why? Because
I
I'm
know.
I'm trying to, and because I run full theater of the mind. So when I have that image burned into my brain, when I'm describing the NPC to my players, I am describing them in a very rich way as if I was showing the image, except that I'm not showing the image. So I'm building it for me. I'm looking for all these elements, but then when I'm running it for the players, I will only show the players what the players want me or prompt me to show them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only do that if I don't become enamored with the world I've built too much. So
Yeah.
that's very important. Is love what you're doing as a GM so you become motivated to run it. But once it's in the hands of your players, let it go. Kind of like the movies, like the people that are against remakes of movies, maybe like Star Wars. It's like once you make the movie, now it belongs to the fans. Like it's a thing where, like, don't whatever. I'm getting a little political because I'm a big Star Wars fan, but let's not go down that route. But the idea is the following: is once it leaves your hands, let the players discover your world in their terms, not
So
yours.
Now, see, Dusk said exactly that, basically, and I love the way that he worded it. He said, let what happens at the table happen and be the experience.
Oh,
so
Instead of thinking about the experience you want to provide,
that's
that,
amazing.
that is, it's like,
Yeah.
also, we
so
need to open up the table to let people ask questions. So,
so
Dusk is
yes.
like bringing in the truth bombs here and the
So
philosophy.
yes, I would say yes and no.
and no.
That's the
No.
typical ghost phrase right there.
That
Yes
Um,
is,
and no.
so yes, because it's true, right? But it depends on the system if it will let because how do I put this? Because there's systems that are designed to bring about a specific experience at the table, no matter who the players are, no matter who the GM is, no matter how you run it, no matter how you play it, unless you home rule it or house rule it or home whatever you want to call it, unless you make the experience change, a lot of systems are designed to bring about the experience. And then now, there are games like most of them usually PBTA-esque kind of right OSR where literally it's a bare bones of a system and then you provide whatever experience you want to provide. Um, so those games you can do that, but I think it has to be a give and take of the players. Like I think it was our first stream that I said it that the GM should build a world with the players, not for the players, right? Um, but everybody has to be into that, right? Everybody has to be into that experience. Like Dungeon World, like you said, hey, I'm gonna. Uh, would you tell the player? Would you like as a player? I'm pretty sure you would because you play Fate. If you go into this room, oh, what do you think is in this room? Like, what do you think when you go into this room? What do
see,
you
I
think
would
is in this room?
love
There
that.
are
As a GM,
some,
I love
there
that
are
because that takes a
players
lot of
that
mental load off
hate
me.
that
Yeah, there
because
are
they
players that
think
dislike it.
that as the GM you have to provide that, right? Because the system that you're playing technically doesn't have as a player doesn't make me do all those things. If you know what I if that makes any
I
sense,
think
right?
that's a topic that we could probably explore in a because I think it's very deep. I think that's a deep idea of when does the game, and maybe this is not exactly related to what you just said, it's just that you kind of sparked this idea, which is when does the game stop being an RPG and become a board game because it's so over codified, right? Like there are
Yeah.
games right now that they,
Yeah.
and I'm having a reckoning with myself this very second because what the homebrew I'm doing has the move list that makes it very board game like, and
Yeah.
therefore
You pick.
if
It's a
I
menu.
provide,
It's a menu.
yeah, it's a menu. It's like
Mhm.
playing when you're playing a game like Final Fantasy. You have a, and you go to a city. You know, there are some games, not all Final Fantasies, but there are some games in that kind of Square Enix universe where you go to a city and then you have little icons, and then you
Yep.
choose to what part of the city you
Yep.
go. You don't get to explore the actual city at your will, but then you
Yep.
go ahead and play a Bethesda game, and you can just like free roam all over the world and whatever. But then it becomes unfocused, right?
Mhm.
And you never get to the main storyline,
It's
Skyrim,
eight
right?
o'clock.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. And we do have some material to talk about for next
Yeah.
time, maybe.
We're probably not gonna talk
Let's
about it anyway.
Probably
Um.
not.
ask our viewers, all three of them right now,
Awesome.
for
Yeah.
if
The
they
most
have any
important.
not clothing,
Sure. Well,
closing
that's good.
thoughts
You have
or
clothing. That's
questions.
good.
Yes,
Yes, please.
please wear clothing. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you're not on camera, but we all should be clothed.
Yeah.
You know?
So, so while they think of things, if they wanna say, but yeah,
Sure. Drop us a line on our Discord
yeah,
and
just Discord, just go in there, just say hey about you can.
and
We
give
have
us your thoughts, and
yeah.
we'll make a conversation. Like the medium in which we're at right now. Like we decided to share the conversations that we've always had
Hmm.
amongst each other. We decided to share them with the world through this medium. But I
Because
think
we're
the
that
heart,
important.
because we are professionals. But I think the heart of what we want to create is a community, and
Hmm.
that can only be done through direct conversation.
Yeah.
So we want to talk to you directly.
Can we take
That's
your
done.
topic suggestions for
Oh,
shows,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So please come over to
please?
the Discord and talk to us, have conversations with us. And we have a whole host of people that are at least much smarter than I am, that are in there, that are not part of the show right now, but they are
Yeah.
in there in
Yeah.
that Discord
Yeah.
that can have some beautiful ideas to share. So come in and let's make it a conversation that we happen to kind of share for 1 hour every Thursday.
Yeah.
But at that moment, we can develop full conversations that
Yeah.
can go on for
Yeah.
days.
Sometimes we do it
And
by voice, sometimes we do it by chat, so it doesn't matter
yeah,
as long as
we have channels where we
we have a
go in
good
and just,
time,
yeah,
it's fine. So,
yeah. We'll play some League of Legends while we're talking to.
yeah,
We
no.
are
Well,
not we are not affiliated with
We're
League of
not
Legends
affiliated
or
with Riot
Tencent,
Games.
Riot Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beware of the expectations everyone is bringing to the table and come to a table consensus on what a given play session is going to focus on. Fun chat. Thanks. Thanks,
yeah,
Dusk. You were very
yeah.
awesome
Thank
today.
you, thank you.
Dusk was very,
And
very
So
cool.
yes,
to be honest, I honestly so Dusk, I think you've been one of the first ones that actually followed us on Twitch, and I thought you were a bot. To be honest,
he did. He
I
said,
did.
"Well, we got
I was like,
one
I don't
viewer, but he's
know.
probably a
It's
bot."
probably a bot. I'm not sure,
Shame
but
on you, Ghost. I never had that thought.
I always thought Dusk was a real person.
Of course,
Always.
jeez.
hey,
Or he's a very
Horrible.
advanced piece of
They
AI.
are
I,
they are a
I
very cool.
I always
Yeah.
have to be the voice of reason among the group. So
It's true.
yeah, and if not, it wouldn't be fun, you know.
It would
If
not be fun. All
yeah.
right, guys. So thank you so very mucho. This has been a pleasure for us to be here with you.
Yes.
Please join us on our Discord, and
Yeah.
I'll see you. We will see you next Thursday.
Tuesday.
Oh,
Wait.
actually, wait. I have a little announcement.
Oh.
It
Oh.
it. Why does that say the 13th? Better be the 13th. Anyways, this coming Tuesday is the beginning of my Brindlewood Bay game, and I will be streaming it on Table Talk RPG. And we have a cast of
Yeah.
4 to 5 who are, and I call them a cast because I have witnessed them roleplay, and they are awesome. And
Amazing.
I'm really excited. So join us Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. Puerto Rican time.
That's right. Puerto Rico time.
Yes.
All right.
Anyways, had
So
that little shout out.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Brindlewood
awesome. Join
Bay,
us.
little old ladies
Follow us
investigating.
next week.
Follow us on Twitter and on
Twitter.
Discord,
Yes, I
and
am semi-active on Twitter. I just get
He was more
ah,
active, but then he got
if
burnt
you
out.
wants to become active, just say some controversial stuff about fifth edition, and then he'll like
nah, no. Actually, what?
activate.
Actually, I just want intelligent conversations.
That's true.
I just
I'm
that's all I
sorry.
want. Just intelligent.
It's my Brindlewood Bay is 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
It's the same. It's the
I
same as
will make that work. Yes. Okay.
Some previous engagement just got canceled on air. Wonderful.
Whoops. Okay.
All
All right,
right.
so let's do our third exit now. Thank you guys so much for
Signing
listening.
off for real.
Signing off now. Have yourselves a
Goodbye.
wonderful, wonderful week.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And then free.